Good afternoon and welcome to one of the biggest traditions in all of motorsport. We bring you the 2023 Monaco Grand Prix. It is quite a turnout. The yachts are in the marina, as you can see, 73 degrees Fahrenheit and clear. A beautiful day for a beautiful race on a 19-turn track, 3.337 kilometers. As we take a look at the layout there. What a turnout. You can see the grandstand, the sun is shining. A beautiful day for a race as we take a look at the starting grid. And in pole, it is going to be George Russell, starting with the hometown boy, Charles Leclerc, representing Monaco for Ferrari. And in third, it will be Carlos Sainz with Perez in fourth, Verstappen and Hamilton 5th and 6th, Guan Yu Zhou with Yuki Tsunoda 7th and 8th, Lando Norris in 9th, Fernando Alonso in 10th, Pierre Gasly in 11th, Mick Schumacher in 12th, Ocon 13th, Ricciardo 14th, Valtteri Bottas 15th, Kevin Magnussen in 16th, Alexander Albon with Lance Stroll 17th and 18th, and at the back it'll be Sebastian Vettel along with Nicholas Latifi. Final preparations are being made for one of the most iconic races in the entire sport, in a country that is less than a square mile. But once a year, the eyes of the world turn to it. There's Kevin Magnussen getting prepared for this race as we bring you the 2023 Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go. The 2023 Monaco Grand Prix has officially begun. It's George Russell with the lead. Sergio Perez moves up into second. Charles Leclerc, the hometown boy, following. Carlos Sainz in fourth. Max Verstappen in fifth. Guan Yu in sixth. And there's a bit of a situation here. Yuki Tsunoda has gotten himself in somewhat of a bind. The yellow flag is out, and it's a very narrow track. He's just trying to get himself reoriented. And a big cloud of smoke coming up as he basically lets everyone else pass. Yuki Tsunoda now into 20th and still trying to figure out how to get himself out of this. Seems as though he has figured it out, and we go back to the leader, George Russell. Just coming out of the tunnel now onto the chicane. He's being followed by Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc. Big day for Leclerc. The one that everyone has their eye on because he's the one who represents Monaco on the world stage. It's not a very big country, but he is their most famous athlete. As George Russell leads the pack through into lap 2 of 20. Perez trailing by a second. Leclerc being followed by Sainz, his teammate Max Verstappen in 5th. And now a bit of an aerial view here. But it is all George Russell at the moment. Yuki Tsunoda still in 20th, of course. He's 11 seconds behind Lance Stroll. As they come down now, there's Perez and Leclerc, Sainz. And this is a big day for the Beagle Sports Network. We've got the Champions League final coming up later today, something I like to call Championship Saturday. As we see inside Leclerc's cockpit. Unfortunately, Mathilda Wallace could not join me today. She had an excellent contribution on Sunday at Imola, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, but hopefully we can get her back for the Spanish Grand Prix taking place next weekend, be it Friday, June 2nd or Saturday, June 3rd. First person view here for George Russell as he leads the pack through into lap 3, and he's got a 1 second lead over Sergio Perez, but you can't even see Perez at all, at least not for a moment. Leclerc coming through again. A lot of focus on him. I'll probably be talking about him a lot through this race. As George Russell continues to fly through the track. And the Monaco Grand Prix, a tradition in motorsport, also one of the more interesting races on the calendar. It's set up on the streets, always generates a big turnout. As you can see, one of the grandstands there. And of course, the Prince and Princess of Monaco in attendance, Albert II, and former Olympic swimmer Charlene, as well as many other celebrities from around the world, be they sporting or non-sporting. It always attracts the rich and famous, and you can tell by the yachts docked in the marina. Russell still leading here, as he has pretty much the whole race. Yellow flags, I believe, are waving. Not entirely sure why, but Yuki Tsunoda is now 26 seconds behind Lance Stroll. So I'm not making any assumptions, but that may have something to do with it, as Russell leads the pack through into lap 4 of 20 this afternoon at Monaco, and we thank you for joining us in what is one of the biggest weekends of the year, not just in racing, but in all of sports. Well, in racing it's very big. There's Monaco, there's the Indianapolis 500, and then there's NASCAR at Charlotte. But this weekend, Memorial Day weekend as it would be referred to in the United States, Champions League final, Indian Premier League final. If you're a fan of cricket, the Titans versus the Chennai Super Kings. But again, later today we will be bringing you our coverage of the Champions League final 2 weeks in advance, live from Istanbul. And I'm certain there are some more events on the worldwide sporting calendar that I forgot to mention, but this is really the kickoff to summer, if you will. If you know what I mean. Russell's still flying through the track. He's out to a 2-second lead over Perez. And now into the first-person view once more as he leads into lap 5. Quarter of the way through the race, it is all George Russell. His teammate Lewis Hamilton back in 12th. Leclerc and Sainz, the two Ferrari teammates, together. And like I said, all eyes will be on Leclerc this afternoon. He won at Imola. Can he make it 2 in a row? Who knows? But if he does, oh, what's going on here? What is going on here? Yuki Tsunoda has wedged himself into the walls again. As it was in the first lap, now he'll pull through, and that's definitely going to do some damage. He's in 20th, he's in last, and it's a full minute gap with Lance Stroll as George Russell. He's actually helped George Russell quite a bit. Sergio Perez behind by 22 seconds, and now just entering the tunnel, as well as some of the others, and I believe the safety car has now come out. So, what now? Tsunoda trying to get through, and George Russell will pit, which will open the door for someone else to take the lead. Who will it be? Will it be Perez? And again, he could pull through. It's a 30-second gap. Oh no, what now? Yuki Tsunoda, we see him again. Quite an interesting start to this race. Just trying to maneuver through those corners. Bit of a careful approach for the AlphaTauri driver. As Russell comes out of the pits. Charles Leclerc is now past Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc, and now, no, everyone's pitting. When you're just looking at the leaderboard, it's a bit confusing, but Pierre Gasly is now in the second. Russell pitted just now, but before everyone else did. Bit of a smart move on his part. Gasly in the second, Esteban Ocon in the third, who had quite a crash at Imola last weekend. But it is still George Russell, as it has been throughout this race, and he comes through the tunnel. Charles Leclerc in fourth, Gasly and Ocon in second and third respectively, as George Russell is now caught up to the safety car. Pierre Gasly will have to do a bit of work to catch up to the rest of the queue. Well, he's leading the rest of the queue, but what am I saying? Going through the tunnel now onto the chicane and by the marina, in view of all the yachts and the social elite as we go to the helicopter view. It's always a big turnout. Look at all those grandstands, even on the water. George Russell still following the safety car as we turn our attention once again to Pierre Gasly. It's now an 8-second gap, where it was 20-second gap. Esteban Ocon being followed by Charles Leclerc. I've said it before, I'll say it again, the hometown boy, Leclerc, looking to go big, looking to win the Monaco Grand Prix for the first time in his career. Will he be able to pull it off? Doesn't look like it at the moment. It's been a dominant performance from George Russell, and true dominance, at least what we've seen from the F1 races we covered since we started covering them. If you can go into the pits and keep your lead, then it's a mark of good fortune, I would say. As the safety car continues to lead, Pierre Gasly is now caught up to George Russell. I don't know why I said Russell. Esteban Ocon closing the gap with Pierre Gasly, Leclerc following him, and I assume behind Leclerc will be the rest of the queue. With the safety car just trying to set the pace at this moment in time. And Gasly following Russell as we go to the cockpit view. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda has been the cause of much trouble here today. If you go to the bottom of the leaderboard, he's 1 minute and 21 seconds behind Lance Stroll, and it has all gone awry for Yuki Tsunoda. It did in the very first lap. Zhou Guanyu, Sergio Perez, Alexander Albon, Fernando Alonso trying to catch up to the queue. It's an 8-second gap, but I assume he'll be able to. He'll have to if we want to keep this race going. A quick glimpse of Tsunoda from the helicopter, but we're focusing on the leader once again. And the safety car is now gone. I've just noticed that. And it is Russell back to flying through the track. Pierre Gasly trying to catch up to him, a 1-second interval. Esteban Ocon still in third, Leclerc in fourth. And we would once again like to thank you for joining us. The greatest tradition in all of F1 on the greatest weekend in all of motorsports. Leclerc for the first person view, being followed by Zhou Guanyu, his teammate Carlos Sainz, all the way back in 9th, and they were together previously, but it just goes to show the unpredictability of Formula 1 as George Russell continues his dominant lead. A bit, well, not actually similar to Miami, but if you recall a while back, what a lead that was, what a win. 14 seconds ahead of Sergio Perez for George Russell to take the win in Miami. And again, just flying through the track here. Gasly in second, but he's got a fair amount of catching up to do. As we go to the first person, the cockpit view once again. Russell in view for a moment there, but he will disappear once again amidst the many curves and the many turns of the Monaco track. There he is. And coming through the tunnel now. One of the most iconic parts of the Monaco course. And now to the chicane. Coming up to lap 10 and the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Here on Championship Saturday on the Beagle Sports Network. Again, we've got the Champions League final coming up later. It's going to be Manchester City and Inter Milan. Yellow flag is out. I wonder what's going on. Yuki Tsunoda seems fine despite a couple of wall hits. I don't know what's gotten into him, but it's not good. I can tell you that much. And a quick glimpse there, whatever that was. Now into lap 10, George Russell giving us the grand tour amidst the beautiful buildings and the palm trees. A beautiful day, beautiful weather for this race. Russell alone. Pierre Gasly has a 5-second gap. Esteban Ocon following by 1 second. And there is Charles Leclerc once again. He doesn't look close to pulling it off right now, but who knows? Every time they come around here, eyes are always on him. And maybe this is the year he wins his hometown race, as we see Pierre Gasly piloting through the course. George Russell, again, still with the lead, and he has led for the entire first half of the race. He leads us into the second half with lap 11. Please excuse me as we take a look at Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon once again. Charles Leclerc following Ocon very, very closely. Could be, there's not really much opportunity to pass on this course. It's very narrow, very single file, and you've gotta pick your spots, pick your openings, and see what happens as they go through the tunnel once again. What a view! And that adds the uniqueness of the Monaco course, as we get a beautiful view of the water. Esteban Ocon, you see there from the helicopter, and from the helicopter you can really see how fast these cars are. The surroundings just flying by. The marina, the grandstands, everything. But now back down to the ground as Leclerc moves into lap 12 of 20 here at the Monaco Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly in second, still in second, but the gap is now 7 seconds. It was quite closer earlier. But this has been the order for quite some time now, and we really don't need to take a look at George Russell at the moment because we already know. And he has pitted, so he probably won't be going back. I'm gonna take something quite interesting for him to lose this lead. As you see, Leclerc, Esteban Ocon following Pierre Gasly through the tunnel and onto the chicane right by the marina. So the first person view once again and past the crowd. Really gives you a look at the scenery and everything, and I suppose I've talked about that enough for today, but it is a beautiful day with beautiful surroundings for a beautiful tradition in the history of motorsport. Esteban Ocon has moved up into second, Charles Leclerc into third as Pierre Gasly goes down. Ocon, however, has some catching up to do. 9 seconds to be precise. I've just noticed the leaderboard there. Leclerc in third, following Esteban Ocon quite closely. Yellow flag is out for some reason. Saw a bit of smoke there. I'm not sure who it is, and My guess, my intuition is correct. It is Yuki Tsunoda. And he's just barely hanging on in this race. Playing it. Oh, he's hit the wall. He's fine, it seems. Playing it kind of safe, Yuki Tsunoda is. Esteban Ocon now closing the gap to 5 seconds, where it was previously 9. Through the chicane, he's cut the corner a bit. He hits the wall again, and this is not a good day to be Yuki Tsunoda. Back to George Russell in the lead in lap 13. Esteban Ocon behind by 5 seconds. Charles Leclerc following him very, very closely. And I believe Ocon has gone into the pits, which means Leclerc has moved up into second. He just has to pass Russell. And indeed, my theory is correct. Ocon in the pits. He comes out in 8th, or at least he's in 8th right now, down to 11th. Charles Leclerc in second by 6 seconds against George Russell, lap 14 of 20, and this could very well be the moment for Charles Leclerc to win his hometown, his home country's Grand Prix for what I believe is the first time, or at least it is, according to Mathilda Wallace. Again, she couldn't be with us here today. Real shame for a race of such magnitude, but we hope to get her back for next weekend's Spanish Grand Prix. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that her appearance at Imola was not a one-time thing, and we hope to have her back on the channel very, very soon. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc flying through the course, but it is still George Russell who he has to catch up to, who he has to pass. Russell has dominated the entire race. He pitted and he came out of it still with his lead. It has been his lucky day. Into lap 15, 5 more laps for Charles Leclerc to catch up. And again, a lot of the focus has been on him. He's the hometown boy. It makes sense. Russell flying through the course as well. And this reminds me a bit of Miami. I don't really have much to say. I'm just watching him give us a tour of the course. It's a 5-second gap. You could see Leclerc in the top left-hand corner for a moment there. It's now a 6-second gap. Russell widening his lead and coming through the tunnel again. Now here's Leclerc. Zhou Guanyu behind by 2 seconds. He's in third. Or behind Leclerc, that is. Russell through the turn. And apologies if you can hear the music, but maybe you like it. I'm not oh no, not again. Yuki Tsunoda, ladies and gentlemen. As it was in the first lap, so it is in what for most drivers is the 15th. For him, it's the 13th. And trying to maneuver himself out of this, he's had some help from a fellow driver. You can see, I believe, Kevin Magnussen, or his teammate, Mick Schumacher, one of the two. I don't really, I'm a bit inexperienced. Mathilda would know. There's Lando Norris moving through. Mick Schumacher. Esteban Ocon, who was previously high up. I believe he was in second or third. He's now down to 17th. Yuki Tsunoda is being Yuki Tsunoda. And George Russell has the lead in the 16th lap. But Charles Leclerc has now closed the gap to what was 3 seconds. Now is 2 seconds. And across the chicane, he is catching up to George Russell. And he is doing it. He's doing it now. He's doing it quickly. He has to do it now. It's now or never. But can he pull it off? Now a 1 second gap. He's getting closer. 1.8 seconds. As they come into... Oh no. What now? Tsunoda seems fine. The others don't. And Zhou Guanyu and Leclerc is just one. He's just moved up in the first. Thanks to that crash, George Russell is now in 5th. I wasn't paying attention to the leaderboard. I should have. Because that crash has been quite beneficial to the home country boy, the hometown boy, whatever you want to say. Country, town, city. There really isn't much difference. It's a sovereign state, but it's less than a square mile, as Yuki Tsunoda once again maneuvers through the walls. There's a fun fact about Monaco. It's less than a square mile. But that less than square mile will be hailing the name Charles Leclerc if he can hold on for 3 more laps. The hometown hero. And now, catching up to Yuki Tsunoda. And from what we've seen from Tsunoda today, it might not be in the bag for Leclerc yet. There still could be some hijinks, if you will, caused by the last place driver, but Leclerc has cleared him. He's past Tsunoda, not that it really matters, but just for his own safety. From what we've seen from him, Zhou Guanyu in 2nd, Sergio Perez in 3rd by 9 seconds. And Yuki Tsunoda wiped out on the first lap and hasn't been able to retake his spot ever since then. He just had to let everyone pass on that crash. It resulted in him being in 20th place, but it's a very narrow track, and to free yourself from that is not necessarily that much of an easy task. Leclerc still flying through, Zhou Guanyu in 2nd, Carlos Sainz in 3rd by 11 seconds, and I believe that was Yuki Tsunoda in front of him. Guanyu trying to catch up. It may not be in the bag for Leclerc just yet. I should say Zhou trying to catch up. That would be his last name. Leclerc's teammate Sainz in 3rd place, Sergio Perez in 4th, Russell and Hamilton 5th. Oh, Russell moves up into 4th. And George Russell dominated for most of this race. But I do not believe he will get that lead back. We thank you for watching. We thank you for being with us as we bring you Championship Saturday on the Beagle Sports Network. It's not often that we cover 2 events in one day, but that's what we're doing today. The Champions League final coming up in about 5.5 hours from Istanbul, Turkey. Right now, it is the moment. The man of the hour, Charles Leclerc, flying for the course. Zhou Guanyu comes through the tunnel. Leclerc through the chicane. And to quote Bugs Bunny, that's all, folks, because Charles Leclerc seems as though he has it in the bag. Seems as though he's taken the victory in the 20th lap, barring any sort of crash or anything. It seems as though the 20th lap will be a victory lap as he comes through the start-finish line. 3-second gap from Zhou Guanyu, Carlos Sainz in 3rd, Russell in 4th, Alexander Albon in 5th, Lewis Hamilton in 6th, Perez and Verstappen 7th and 8th, the teammates, Valtteri Bottas in 9th, Sebastian Vettel in 10th, Fernando Alonso in 11th, Pierre Gasly 12th, Nicholas Latifi 13th, Mick Schumacher 14th, Lando Norris 15th, Esteban Ocon 16th, Daniel Ricciardo 17th, Kevin Magnussen 18th, Lance Stroll 19th, and of course, Yuki Tsunoda in 20th. Going down through the leaderboard, because what else do I have to say? The hometown hero has pulled it off. Charles Leclerc will get the respect and adulation of his countrymen, a country with only 36,000 people. But a country nonetheless. Through the final few turns, it is the moment. For the first time in his career, Charles Leclerc has won the Monaco Grand Prix. Zhou Guanyu will finish in second, it looks like. Carlos Sainz in third. Just has to get through the final parts, the final turns. George Russell in fourth. Albon in fifth, and that is the top five. Let's go to the victory celebration here at the Monaco Grand Prix. What a moment for the hometown hero. Charles Leclerc, for the first time in his career, wins the Monaco Grand Prix. And a meeting with the Prince and Princess certainly on the cards later tonight. But for now, the celebration begins on the podium. There is the winning car. And we thank you for joining us for one of the greatest traditions in all of motorsport. It is Championship Saturday. Coming up later, we will have for you the Champions League final, Inter Milan and Manchester City, in about 5.5 hours. But for now, congratulations to Charles Leclerc. This is his moment.